Yeah, it's good. I just need it to have more
It's fine.
pizzazz.
It's fine.
I need more wham, bam, pizzazz. All right,
Well,
and we're
welcome
back.
everybody to What Have You Been Reading, episode 25. My name is
Woo woo.
Alex,
Oh, yes, my name is Carla. Hello.
and we like to talk about books. So
We
many
do
books, all the books,
all the genres, all the weirdness, all the normals, all of it.
all the family therapy,
Yeah.
all the random eyeball licking, all the
Nope.
things.
So yeah, so last episode had to be cut short because we kind of went long and then I kind of fell off the face of the earth. So
Yeah.
here we are to talk about the books that we had been reading back when you heard episode 24 and didn't get a chance to tell you guys about. So, Alex, do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
You can start. Carla, what have you been reading?
Thank you for asking. So, as I was saying, in the previous one, I have still not finished with Red Rising, but I'm pretty deep into that book, and I know that it's a first book within a series.
Yeah.
Um, so I did want to touch upon that because the reason that it took me such a long time to get into it is because I felt like at the very beginning, it felt very pattern following in terms
Okay.
of the dislike, yeah, the dislike that the red people had for those that were controlling their world, right? Which is the golds. Um, but
So
then
should we give a
when I
little
came,
background, right? So this is
oh,
on the
right,
planet
yes,
Mars. They're on the planet Mars, and the
right.
Reds are kind of like uh what do you
They're
call
the
people
ones that
in
are preparing the
the
planet.
planet? What do you call in
Yeah.
India like caste, right? Caste?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
caste
So they're
system, right? So
divided
you're
into colors.
you're born into it, you can't leave it. You're like predetermined to be a red your entire life. And what the Reds do is they dig underground for like a what is like
It seems like
E3, G3,
what they're
H
doing.
H3. H3, I think
Oh,
is
I
what
don't
it's called, or
remember
like
that.
helium 3, which is what helps make the planets livable. Like it helps create oxygen, I think, in the planets.
They're preparing that planet for colonization
Yeah.
because what they are told is that humans are in a real predicament and they need to be able to colonize this planet, and they are being told that as a group the Reds are basically help save humanity.
Right.
um and then once I went back to the book, I kind of understood more about why there was such a hatred. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I just had not given this book a chance. And
Hmm.
basically, what
You
happens
didn't
is that
understand why the Reds hated the Golds?
I did understand the why, but the way that it was described seemed to me like it was just a little bit too one plus one equals two. Did you not get
Okay.
that sensation? Like I felt like while I was reading it, it was very much like this again. This story again. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm so glad you said this because this is very similar to The Will of the Many.
Oh,
So that was hard for me. It's very much a like, a 16-year-old boy who's a man somehow and very strong and very smart and very capable can save the world. That's exactly the premise of The Will of the Many, but with like a different setting and background, right? But it's
yeah.
kind of the same thing. It's like they're the regime and they're fighting the government to like save humanity or save their world. So that part was hard for me. And I think because I read The Will of the Many first, that is
Hmm.
my like baby. So I'm kind of like, I feel like my
You're okay with it.
loyalty, my loyalty lies with The Will of the Many rather than Red Rising. So I was kind of like rinse and repeat kind of on this book.
Yeah, well, and I had that feeling without having read The Will of the
Yeah,
Many, but
yeah.
it felt like a lot very much like other stories of the underdog. And
Mhm.
I don't know if maybe I just need um maybe like a different approach to that same story, because even though
So
I
I
don't.
enjoyed it. I finished it and I liked
Hmm.
it. I
Hmm.
don't think it was, again, I feel like because I read The Will of the Many first, that one has my like my high standard.
Okay.
You know, like it's, I don't know. I think I liked, that's where I set my standard, and I don't know that Red Rising met that.
Mm?
Also, huge news, Carla. Huge news that just happened this week of March 27th is today when we're recording. They just announced the publication date for book two for The Will of the Many. The
Oh,
Strength of
okay.
the Few will be published on November 11th, and I am so excited. I pre-ordered. I've spent way too much money on pre-ordering books this year. Don't tell Jeff.
What's Jeff? I think he hears this podcast.
Sometimes. Sometimes he does.
You may have an issue there.
But I did enjoy
So,
it, and I did put book two on my Libby wait list, so I will
yeah,
see it through.
I am definitely going to finish it. It's just probably going to take me a while. But the that was just like the baseline of the story. Basically what ends up happening, and you already know this, but like to give to give the rest of you guys a little bit more of what's happening. The main character is not super interested in revolution. He's what is it? He's the one that goes deep into the soil and like craters about and stuff. He's
He's
cool
oh
with
my
living
God.
that way.
This book
Yeah.
led me to restart my Reddit account so that I could follow like Reddit threads for this book, because it seems like a book that would have a ton of people talking about it.
And was that
Um,
the case?
it is the case. And one of the things they talk about is like how often he mentions what he did, which now I can't think about it. He's like a digger, but there's a word for
Yes.
it. But he's like the rock star of what they do down there, right? He's like so
Yeah.
fast and so good, and he leads the drill, whereas other people have like support positions. He's like the lead role because obviously at 16, he's amazing and he's so
Well,
fast. And
I think
his fingers are so dexterous.
Well, I think that what we have to remember, though, is that the reason that he's 16 and such a badass is because these people have such a short lifespan. His
Yes.
uncle, which is like
30
considered to be
something.
super old, yeah,
Yeah.
is in his mid 30s. And by the time you're 40, it's like you're a decrepit ancient
Well,
person.
and that comes up very soon, right? Because he gets married. Like they're talking about
Yeah.
marriage, and he's like in love with his wife, and he's 16. And you could tell right away that the mentality of a 16-year-old in this book is not the mentality of a 16-year-old in
Yeah.
our world, right? Like
Yeah.
they are, you're right, absolutely. Like they are very
They
much more
they
mature.
are forced to be adults very,
Yes.
very quickly in life. So, his wife does have that kind of like
EO.
streak in her. Yeah, EO.
EO.
She does have that streak in her of like, hey, this is some bullshit. And
Mhm.
because of her, he's
Whereas he
kind of
didn't, right at the beginning. He's like, this is just our
100%.
lot. This is
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do. And we just keep doing what we're told.
Yes, he was very okay with his lot in life. And because of his wife, he is propelled into the situation where
Yeah.
he is going to become a gold and basically fuck it up from the inside. So
Yeah.
that is what's going to happen in Red Rising. That is what you go through. And I think also that's one of the reasons that like it lost me is because I feel like while there is a lot of movement, there is a lot of action happening, like a lot is happening, it feels like it's happening, but there's no impact. Like I feel like a lot's happening and it's like, okay,
Mm.
coolio. It's
I felt
just
the impact.
it builds. It builds a lot
Yeah.
and I just there is, for me at least, there
Excuse
was
me.
really no payoff yet. And
How far
like
did
I'm pretty
you
deep into the
get?
book.
Do you have a
I'm
percentage?
like probably like 70% in.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's
Okay.
like, yeah, so it's like, can we see like something like actually with impact happen? Because I know that this is important in terms of like the story and how we're gonna get to those other books.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatevs. It just felt like way too much building and not enough payoff for me. But
Well,
maybe once I finish the book.
I do think it's one of those books that does have a lot of world building, right? Like you're in such a
Yeah.
completely different setting that it does take a lot to set the scene. I also I went on Reddit and like immediately spoiled something that's like 3 books deep, which I kind of saw coming anyway, but I was like, fuck. Well, now I know that's gonna happen.
Well, does that matter to you? Do spoilers bother you?
Not necessarily. Again, I kind of knew that was gonna happen. It was my own dumb fault for like scrolling through without paying attention to like, I don't know. I feel like Reddit is usually really good about spoiler warnings, and maybe I just missed it.
Okay.
Um, but I did enjoy it, but I am more excited about book 2 of The Will of the Many.
I know that I was way into it, like maybe around the 20% mark, 30% mark. And then by like 50, 60, 70%, I was like, let's get on with the show.
I do get pretty lost on like there's like Greek mythology and then there's planets. And I'm kind of lost on all of that.
I don't remember
Like the
them.
proctors are planets. I don't understand. They're like coming down from the heavens. I'm like, how does that work? I don't know. I,
Oh, oh. The Proctors, they're people.
I know, but it's like talking about they're on Mount Olympus, right? It's like this whole Greek mythology analogy, but they're living it. And I'm like, well, what is Mount Olympus? Because it's not the actual Mount Olympus. So have they built a house in the sky that they come down from to observe
Yeah, it's
what's
probably
happening?
like a satellite station or something.
Yeah, I just like, I feel like that's weird. I don't know. I guess of all the things to get hung up on, maybe that's not the thing, but
I totally went past that and I
really,
yeah,
I guess it does become a thing later on. So maybe when you finish it, you can tell me if it
okay.
strikes you as interesting or not. But I think it's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, it's good. I just need it to have more
It's fine.
pizzazz.
It's fine.
I need more wham,
You
bam,
mean-
pizzazz.
Cool.
Yes. What have you been reading?
Okay, so I want to talk about Catherine Center is an author that I kind of went on a whole binge. So the first one I read the Rom-Commers. I mentioned it in the last episode, and then I decided to save it.
Yes.
So the Rom-Commers has been making the rounds. It has gotten a lot of attention. So I finally listened to it. Oh, going back to Red Rising, I listened to it on audio, which I think was great for me because I could kind of tune in and out. I think if I was
Oh.
reading the physical copy, it might have been harder for me to stay in it.
Oh, I find that even like no, I feel like if I'm listening to it, I can't tune out. Like I will go back. If I find
Oh,
myself wandering away from it mentally, I'm like, damn it. And then I have to like hit
I do
the
sometimes go back,
yeah.
but like I feel like it can be almost a little bit of a background thing if I'm not
Mm.
that interested in what's happening. But
You
anyhow,
know, when I'm listening to books while I'm driving, if something is going on that's going to take my attention away, like my audio attention away from it, I will stop it and I
I do
will
too.
okay, yeah.
But sometimes it
I don't
takes me
wander.
like 60 seconds to realize that I stopped listening, and that's 4 15-second backwards, right?
You gotta
15,
push the
30,
you
60.
gotta no, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You got
Yeah,
well, I gotta do it. I have
yeah.
to. I
I do too
must.
sometimes. So I listened to the rom-commers on audio, and honestly, what sold me was, well, the writing, obviously, the book was good, but the narrator, Patty Murin, I think she's also an actress or something. Um, but I just feel like the audio was so good. Like the tone, the cadence, the nuance, like the voices
Ooh, the
weren't
cadence.
weird. Cadence is
Yeah.
like,
No, I
you
know.
get
I just
okay.
yeah, we're yeah, the cadence.
Like And we found our episode title. Um, so then I was like, well, now I want to find more books that are narrated by that author. And she's done a lot of Katherine Center books. So I
Oh,
read the
okay.
Rom-Commers, and then I read, what was the other one I read? Hello, Stranger. And Happiness for Beginners was the third Katherine Center book that I read, but that one was narrated by someone else. The book was still good, but I did miss the old narrator. But
Okay.
they're all sweet comedies, like they're
Oh,
nice. The Rom-Commers is about and I think they're all set in Texas, or at least two of the three are set in Texas. This
don't mess with
girl
them.
that what's that?
Don't mess with
Don't
Texas.
mess with Texas. Emma Wheeler, she lives in Texas and she's a screenwriter. And then her BFF gets her a job to like screenwrite with someone in LA. So she flies to LA. And of course, the trope is forced proximity. She has to live in his house while she's there, and they're like working on this rewrite together.
Why
Carla's
does she
giving a
have
face.
to live in his house? Why does she
I
have to
think
live in
she
his
can't
house?
afford a hotel and he has a giant house and they're kind of like working on this project 24/7.
Okay.
Um, and it has to work for the book. They have to be
Okay.
forced together. Um, but I really liked it. It was funny. It had like laugh out loud moments. I really enjoyed both of the characters. And then at the very end, there's a wedding quote, like the dad of the main character is performing a ceremony for someone, not necessarily the main characters, so I don't want to spoil it. It wasn't them, so other people get married. Um, but it was really sweet, and I officiate weddings on the side, and it was very close to like something that I put into my ceremony transcript, and I go, "Oh, I was on the right track," and it was so good, and it was so sweet. And then when I read the
Are you gonna steal
acknowledgments,
it?
well, I was going to, like, I honestly made a note. I was like, "Oh, I wonder if I could take that as a cool part," and I was like, "But it's actually very similar to what I wrote in myself already." Which was pretty cool to be like, it was a good little bit that I added in there. But in the
Well, now I
acknowledgments,
want to know. I want to know what it is. Are you
it's
gonna share
basically
that?
like, I think that the sentiment of both hers and mine is that like marriage doesn't have to be difficult if you're just like nice and kind to the person that you're with, and if you respect each other, like it could be a really easy thing, as long as you keep saying I love you and thank you and respecting each other and like appreciating their small little things that they do and the big things that they do. Um, that like, yeah, it's like easy peasy.
That's fucking sweet.
Isn't it cute?
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
Which is my bit of my transcript is like yeah, just keep saying thank you and I love you no matter what, like every day. It goes a long way. Like it's easy to forget those things when you're married to someone for a long time. You like stop saying those things and stop being vocal about them. But I think they're important. Oh, Carla's crying. She's crying.
And I did the. I'm dead on the
But
side of
in
the
the
road.
acknowledgments, she said that that was actually from when the author officiated her brother's wedding, and that was part of her transcript. So she incorporated that into the book, which I thought was so sweet.
That is cute. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the Rom-Commers
That's
by Katherine
adorable.
Center. Yeah, and then so the other two that I read from
Oh,
her
okay.
were,
So, okay.
yeah,
What is there? Wait, I have a question. Questione.
yeah, 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 yeah. See, eso,
What
eso,
what
eso, eso.
is what is the problem that they face?
The problem they face is that they kind of hate each other. Um,
Oh, okay.
the girl screenwriter. So she is a nobody from Texas, like no one, a no one. She's been trying to like write things forever. And then the person that she flies out to LA to screenwrite with is like a super famous, popular screenwriter in LA, living like the Hollywood lifestyle. And of course, he's super hot. And he doesn't want her to help him at first. And then he realizes how good she is. And then they start working together. And then, of course, they're like falling in love with each other, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from there, I jumped to Hello Stranger, which was another one. And that one was cute also, although this one had Sorry, I'm just going to lump these three together and then we can go back to what you've been reading, if that's okay.
Well, well, fuck you, Alex.
I'll keep them short. But this one was also
That could be
cute,
our title.
but it talked about this condition that the main character had, which was prosopagnosia. She had like a head trauma injury, and because of it, she couldn't see people's faces. So, like,
Whoa.
yeah, which I think is, well, I haven't Googled it, but I think it's a real thing, which is called face blindness. So your brain sees individual pieces of someone's face. Like you can see the eye and the nose and the mouth, but it doesn't quite put it together in a face.
I
So
have a
it's like this
question.
weird abstract painting, and you can't tell who you're talking to.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Two. I have two questions.
I'll
If
ask, I'll let
this,
you ask one.
I'm gonna ask two though.
Okay.
If this person were to witness a crime, would they be able to identify the different parts of the face, describe them? Like for example, you, would I be
Yeah.
able to say, this is what her eyebrows looked like, but I can't tell
I
you what
don't
part of her face they were on?
I don't think so because when she runs into people in the street, she like literally doesn't know who they are unless she recognizes like the way that they walk or the tone of their voice or something else to tell her who it is. That part was hard for me to like get past. Like
That
that she
brings me to
wouldn't even
question number
recognize a
two.
voice was hard for me. Yeah.
Question number two is actually part of that. So you're telling me that if she saw you multiple times, your face would not be recognizable, even though it's the same mush, right? Like if your face was one mush, because your face is always one, and she sees you tomorrow, isn't she seeing the same mush?
I guess not. Again, I didn't do any independent research into this, but the way that the
No,
story carries on, she does not, she ends up recognizing people because of other features. Like one guy wears like a bowling jacket all the time, a neighbor. So that's how she recognizes him, not because she sees the same mush. She just sees the same jacket.
I don't like it.
No, I don't, it was a stretch.
Okay.
It was a stretch, but the characters were cute. The storyline was cute. And it had the same narrator, Patty Nguyen, so I loved that. Also, if you like pets, if you like dogs, if that's your thing, she has a really cute dog and he plays like a major role in it. So there was that.
I love
And then
that.
the last one of hers I read was Happiness for Beginners, which was cute. That one's about a 32-year-old divorcee who goes on like this really intense wilderness survival course. Like, I think it was like a 3-week hike in the wilderness. And
Okay.
the trope in this one is brother's best friend. So her brother's best friend ends up coming on this trip with her. And he apparently has had a crush on her since he was like 16. And, you know, yada, yada,
Cute.
yada,
I like
traipsing
that.
through the woods, sleeping under the stars. There's this really cute scene where they're like in this beautiful meadow. Yeah. I want to go to Wyoming and go through, what was it called? Oh, I wrote it down somewhere else. I think it's like a famous hike out there.
I like the has liked her for so many years. I don't like the outdoors.
Yeah. There's also an age difference, right? She's 32 and he's like 20 something.
Oh, it's a younger brother?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay.
So she's like, I can't like you. You're like, my brother's age.
Yeah.
But yada,
Uh,
yada, yada.
the age difference thing, it just becomes a little bit more non-important as you get older. Like I feel like when I was younger, I used to think ill, and well, I still kind of think ill. Like I'm
Well, I think
40.
there's a certain age where it's still ew. Like if the girl is very young,
Yeah.
like 18,
No,
it
I'm
can still
talking
be
about
ew.
you being the older one and like the guy being younger. I'm still not super down with that. Um, I feel like before I used to think 1 year was like the most. And
Oh,
now
really?
Oh yeah. I don't like younger people. I don't. I used to think 1 year was like the most I'd go, but
Yeah.
now as I'm getting older, I'm like realizing, okay, maybe like as a 40-year-old, maybe I'd be cool with like a 37 at most though. Like if you're
Wow.
younger than that, if you're younger than that, I'm
No
gonna I'm
thanks.
gonna have a problem. Like I need to
Hard
have,
pass.
yeah, I need to have like they need to be able to reference the same things as me.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny at my work, a lot of people are older and they just don't get like they don't get the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I forget what else I
Yeah.
mentioned, and they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
hard. That's tough. But
Like
then
there's
maybe
only
they would expose you to all of these things that you don't know, and then you'd be like, you know,
maybe, but maybe not. Maybe I'd just be like, it would be nice if we could just have a common ground instead of
yeah,
having to always trying to find an equilibrium in terms of that part of life, you know?
yeah. So Carla, what have you been reading?
So I tried again. I dove into um a romance and I read The Daydreamer, but now I can't remember who it's by, but I wrote it on my other notes, perhaps.
The
The
Daydreamer.
Daydreamer by Susie Tate. Um, in this, we've got an introvert girl who has gone to the big city, and she has gotten a job with her childhood friend. He is now like a big deal, and he used to be, or no, he still is, her brother's best friend. So it's also brother's best friend.
Yes, yes.
He is older, so acceptable. So
Uh-huh.
he loves her mom, and so he's like, yeah, your daughter can come work over here. She is annoying
Mm.
because she's like super duper awkward and is not charming about it. And I feel like if you're I don't and this is me being a dick, okay?
Okay.
If you're gonna be awkward, then please have a little bit of charm. If I can't with you, if you're gonna make me feel nervous for you, then I want to like you for it. I don't want to be
Yeah.
like, fuck, here she comes again, you know?
Yeah.
And that's mean. And I know that because a lot of people don't have an ease of, being around others. I get that. Totally get that. Hate that for you. I'm sorry.
However,
But equally, if I was around you, I would also hate that for me.
yeah. So
But
this is the main female character.
yeah. So
Uh,
she spaces out a lot. She has this job and she's somebody's personal assistant. And she says it throughout the whole book that she's shitty at it, but
oh,
she's
I
good at
suck at
other
my
stuff
job.
though. Like she's creative and stuff, so she does some other stuff within the company and that is very redeeming.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she has other good stuff going for her
Qualities.
career wise.
Yeah.
Yes. So she sucks that way. And
Yeah.
and what he doesn't know is that, and what he doesn't know, but you do know as a reader, is that she's an author.
Okay.
So her spacing out and being a daydreamer is actually good for her chosen career.
Okay.
So she's only at this job because she's trying to push herself to be a little bit more outgoing, but also because she's hella obsessed with him. Okay. Hella obsessed. So anyway, it goes through that, and then, there is there's a misunderstanding and he
I
fucks it up.
hate I hate miscommunication tropes. They're in every romance, but they're my least
No,
favorite.
it's not like a miscommunication. He is given bad information. information.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess he doesn't communicate.
Yeah.
So he fucks it up, and then we just have to deal with that. But two more things though. He calls her
Two.
a good girl.
Mm,
That's not it.
no.
That's
I haven't gotten to talk about Done and Dusted. I'll say that one for
oh
later,
shit,
but
that's true.
yeah.
You did say that you had read that and that you liked it,
Yeah.
right?
I
Oh, okay.
liked the storyline. I didn't like the spicy parts. They were too much for me.
It was too dusty and it was too
Yeah. It was too done, too dusted.
there was too much sand in the crevices.
Yeah.
That's gross. Alex, you
Ew.
should be ashamed of yourself for thinking that. Um, so he calls her good girl, and maybe it's because I absolutely hate it when, okay, if I have done something well,
Yeah.
and in general, not specifically in this in like not
Not in the bed
specifically in
necessarily.
terms of jalapeno poppers. If I
Okay.
have done something well, please never acknowledge it in that way.
Oh,
That makes me
not
feel gross.
by saying good girl.
Yeah, I hate
Okay.
it.
That specifically.
It's so weird. It's so
Well,
weird.
we're grown-ass women, so
Well, I feel like validation could come in other forms
yeah.
and not in those
I mean,
two
like if
words
someone
together.
said, Carla, you did a great job.
I'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
but
specifically talking about good girl.
yeah, I would be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, boppity boopity," in
Yeah.
celebration. If somebody said "good girl" to me, I'd be gagging into the nearest trash bin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get
so
that.
that was one thing. She is so into him. I do like that. I did like that she was so into him.
Yeah.
Like she had no qualms about saying that, which is probably something positive that comes from her being totally awkward and like a super
Yeah.
weirdo, that she didn't mind telling him how hot he was. And I was like, you know what? Good for
You
them.
go, girl. Good
Because
girl. Good girl.
that's so gross.
We're at the
I feel
five
like
minute mark. I don't know how it happened.
damn it, because I really wanted to talk about this fucking female serial killer from the book They Never Learn. Anyway, to end on this one though, to end on Daydreamer segment, I
Yeah.
feel like men are very rarely given those kinds of positive reinforcements in books. I feel
Yeah.
like it's always like, oh, and she was so beautiful. Oh, and look at your hair, and you're so beautiful, and you're so pretty. And men usually don't get that. Like I know that like they're the in like for example in Akatar, they're constantly talking about their muscles and like how fucking hot they are. However, it's never actually said to them.
Oh, I see what you're saying, the description, but not the
Yeah.
vocalization of
Yeah.
someone's
And in
male
yeah. And in
attractiveness.
this yeah, in this book, she tells him how incredibly attractive he is to her. And I
Sweet.
appreciate that. Good
Oh,
job.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, so it had like I'm gonna say one jalapeno popper.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to
Um,
tell me something else or should we finish?
I have random notes. Can I go over some of these?
You cannot.
Okay. So from our smut episode, which
Yeah.
was 2 episodes back, we talked about how there's like repeated phrases, right, that are used. Yeah.
I'm gonna cough. Hold on. Okay, I'm good.
Fantastic. So one thing that I didn't think to mention, but a phrase that gets me every time is she fell apart at the seams. Like every single romance book has that, right? When she's like reaching her climax. And I fell apart at the seams. What the fuck does that mean? Fall apart at the
Don't
seams.
you know that we're all stitched together?
All
Like our
stitched
body is
together.
like
And then the other thing that comes up a lot is when like the main female character runs into something. I don't know why they're always running into something. And they're like, oh, I hit into something and it was as hard as a wall, only to realize that it was like his chest, like his muscular chest. Always. Why, for one, why aren't they watching where they're going? Why is he so close?
Yeah, I haven't paid attention to that. I don't think I've read as many books to have paid attention to that, but that
Yeah.
would annoy me. That would annoy me.
And then I'll close for our smutty references on that episode. I think we missed like such a great opportunity for a joke. You said, I think you said that I had to have been up against a wall to read something. I'm like, I feel like that was primed for a sexual joke that we just let it slide by. So I'm just bringing that back around.
We're
Up
just
against a
not,
wall.
you know what it is? We're
Hmm.
not pervy enough. We need to become bigger pervs. That is going to be,
Although
how about,
I've tried to get people to come on to our episode to talk about Onyx Storm, and they're like, I can't, like I'm a teacher or I do this or that. Like I just go, fine.
oh, that's too bad because I was going to say I'm going to make it a goal for the end of 2025. I'm just going to be a big old perv.
Well, you did say that our smut episodes seem to do pretty good, so we need to throw in some salacious details
Oh, yeah.
every episode.
Um, have we been salacious this episode? No.
No, we haven't.
What's good? What's good? What can we say? I don't
I
know.
have a non-salacious detail.
Okay.
My cousin, who's a fervent listener of ours, and I love that, we talked about pop culture and female artists, and I think we said that like female artists nowadays don't have the same like level of scrutiny that maybe like Britney Spears had. Remember this at all?
Oh, well, yeah. In terms of their virginity, like we don't care if you have slept with someone anymore.
I think just like the level of scrutiny. Shoot, we're up against the clock. I'm not going to have time to finish this. But he said it's also like we're older now, and it was true. Like I don't really know any younger pop stars that maybe are getting the same scrutiny and treatment that Britney Spears had, but I just don't hear about it because I'm old. And I think that's
But
valid.
it's not in magazines in grocery stores. Like I feel like if we were old during Britney
That's
Spears
because
time,
young people don't read magazines at the grocery store, Carla. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody.
thank you guys.